This is the PR Podcast, a show about how public relations helps you tell your story to the world. We talk with great PR practitioners who have the skills, creativity, and just plain savvy to get their clients noticed. Now here's your host, Jody Fisher.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the PR Podcast. I'm Jody Fisher. Thanks for joining us. Well, don't forget to tune in to PR Talk from the PR Garage. This is an Instagram Live that I do every Thursday at 2 p.m. I know, it's the middle of the workday, but that's when I can do it. So that's when we're doing it. And it's only 15 minutes long. It's a quick check-in on what's going on in PR, maybe a little current event stuff. We play a game that I call Why Is This News, where I grab a story out of my local newspaper and I sort of deconstruct it and I try to give my 2 cents on why I think that this made the newspaper, so we can talk about how you pitch a story. What are the elements you need to pitch a story to be successful in getting it placed in whatever outlet you're trying to get it placed in. But that all happens every Thursday at 2 p.m. on Instagram Live. And it's my personal Instagram. That's at Jody Fisher. So subscribe, follow me on Instagram, check that out. Tune in. Also, send in an idea for a Why Is This News, because I do it myself every week, but I would love to hear your take on a local story from where you live and hear about why this is might make news in your area. So make sure you send that to me as well. All right, enough about that and all the self-promotion. Let's get on with our show for today. Mark Albert is the founder and CEO of Media Advisory Experts, a Washington, D.C.-based consultancy providing media training, crisis communications, earned media, storytelling, and video production services to clients in the U.S. and around the globe. He's got a really cool business. Now, Mark is a Peabody and EMMY award-winning master storyteller with a 25-year journalism career, including being on air at CBS News reporting from the White House, Capitol Hill, and the U.S. Supreme Court, creating and leading the first national investigative unit for Hearst Communications, teaching journalists in newsrooms in the U.S., Vietnam, and Pakistan, and launching an online news startup and podcast about travel, news, and deals. Mark has won some of the biggest honors in journalism while landing high-profile national interviews, including with philanthropist and tech pioneer Bill Gates, who's that guy, government and political leaders, and at history-making moments and visionary creators. Mark, we're honored to have you on here. Welcome to the PR Podcast.
Jody, it's my pleasure. What an introduction. My goodness, I'll come on your podcast any day for that intro.
We're going to send a check to the guy who wrote it. But tell us about your business first. You've got a really interesting business and sort of a little bit about your background and how you got into your business.
Sure. Well, I spent 25 years on air in journalism. I was at CBS News, so you may have seen me on the CBS Evening News, CBS This Morning, CBS Sunday Morning. And then I left CBS and I did a startup, and then I went to Hearst and created their first ever national investigative unit. So grew that team, and it was for all of Hearst TV stations, newspapers, digital, radio. And after 25 years, Jody, and the gray hair you may see here through the monitor to prove it, just a little, I decided to do something a little bit different. What I like to say is it's journalism adjacent. And I'm still telling stories, and I'm still trying to make sure that we're getting expertise to the audience. But now what I'm doing is media training and crisis communications and essentially playing matchmaker. Every day in every newsroom in America, journalists are looking for experts. And guess what's happening? Every day experts are looking for journalists. So let's bring them together, because so many people are reluctant to talk to journalists. They don't know how to do it. They might be a little bit nervous. But you know what? When the story breaks about the National Association of Realtors settlement, which changes the way we buy and sell homes in America, journalists are looking for realtors. And when it's almost tax season, guess what? Journalists are looking for financial advisors and tax experts and accountants. So I'm training people on how to talk to the media, how to craft a pitch, how to get a journalist's attention, and then how to make sure you're amplifying your message. You talked about your Instagram Live Thursdays at 2 p.m. at Jody Fisher on Instagram. And you talk about those story pitch concepts. We need more of that, right? We need these experts who are so great to be able to share their knowledge with your listeners, viewers, and readers. So that's part of what I'm doing.
It's really a fantastic business, and I urge everybody to check out your website and go on your socials, because you've got a really cool setup. I mean, you've got a full-blown TV studio with cameras and lights and everything, and it instantly made me think of the phrase that I use when I do media training with my clients, which is I never say we want to make you comfortable in an interview situation because you don't want to be comfortable, but you want to be confident. And what I saw in your operation, I want you to tell me a little bit about it specifically, how you make people confident in that exchange of information when they're sitting down with a reporter.
Look, people are not confident when they don't know the material, they don't know how to do an interview, or they feel afraid, right? They feel nervous, they feel anxious. So part of feeling confident is making sure that they're comfortable in the knowledge that they possess in their preparation. And so with my clients, and I just did this with a C-suite leader at a $6 billion company that you would know instantly, and most of us have this product in our homes, is that we do a morning workshop. I'm going to teach you Media 101. I'm going to talk about story pitching, story crafting, how to do an interview, how to pivot, all of these key skills that one needs to have. But then guess what? We're going to come back after lunch, and I've got a network level television crew. We've set up multiple cameras, lights. Honestly, Jody, I'm going for the intimidation factor. When you walk in, I want you to be like, oh my gosh, I'm on the Today Show, right? Or I'm going on 60 Minutes. And we do a mock interview with all the concepts that we've learned in the morning. And I throw some opposition research at the people that I'm media training. And then right after that, when they think the lights are off and they're done, we go to a monitor and we play that mock interview. And we stop and we start and we show you what you did great, what you need to work on. And then we go back and we do it again. A shorter version the second time. And the learning curve, Jody, the confidence is exactly. It's like a roller coaster. It shoots right up. And so that's how I like to do it because, in this day and age, you can do a virtual workshop here, a virtual workshop there, but nothing replaces the in-person of a mock interview. Nothing replaces getting that confidence by getting the reps in, right? You can watch a personal training video, but until you're doing the reps in the gym, you're not going to see a lot of progress. So I believe very strongly in doing it in person, doing those mock interviews, because you're right. It's all about building that confidence, and we do that through repetition.
And a big part of what you teach too, this is really important in media training, is teaching the skills, whether it's the intonation, the body language, the how you conduct yourself. Because I think a lot of leaders or thought leaders, or maybe just experts on a piece of material, they may think, well, I know all this stuff, I can do this well, and that's not necessarily the case.
Look, good leaders recognize that they don't know what they don't know. And it comes to the same thing with media training. You can have a billion-dollar public company. You super impressed your investors. You super impressed your customers. You've got an amazing employee core. But you know what? The message that you give to the investors, your employees, your customers is not the message that you want to deliver to journalists. It's not the message that you're going to want to communicate. And so often leaders can have some reluctance to admit, hey, I don't know, right? We're all kind of allergic to saying the words, I don't know. But as journalists, you know this, we're trained to say, I don't know, or I don't understand, explain that to me. Because if we don't understand it, we certainly can't explain it to the audience, right? So I try to tell the leaders that let's make sure that you understand what is your message, how are you crafting that, and let me teach you some things that you may not know about the media. In fact, I always start off my media training with Media 101. Jody, without fail, that portion, which is about 45 minutes, is the most mind-blowing part for them. They ask the most questions of anything in the day. When I explain what a TV DMA is, what a designated market area is, when I explain how newspapers work, when I explain how a newsroom works, how the sausage gets made, as it were, they don't understand this, right? They're super high-level people. They're incredibly smart and brilliant. But we need to teach them media literacy so they can communicate more effectively in that specific media.
Yeah, it is all great advice, and like I said, visit your website because it's really interesting, and your social media is great too. Walks you right inside that studio, which I am envious of. I wish I had one of those at my disposal. We are definitely going to have to work together in the future. Let's pivot a little bit into what you talk about with those, whether it's thought leaders or CEOs or whoever it is that you're media training. What do you say to them about some of the maybe the top advice to people who want to get media attention, but they're not getting it? They're not getting the media exposure that they either think they deserve or would help drive their business. How do you walk them through?
Jody, this is often the toughest message for people to hear, especially for executives, C-suite, business leaders, owners. What I tell them, they instantly want to push back on. They don't believe me. They think that I must be crazy. What are they paying this money for? Right? Why am I saying this? And here it is. If you're not getting the media attention that you feel that your company deserves, if you have paid a fancy PR firm $50,000 a month to send out 250 news releases and nobody's calling, I want you to do this. I want you to stop pitching your company. I want you to stop pitching your product. And I want you to stop pitching your brand. Instead, I want you to pitch your expertise. Your expertise is what's going to get a journalist's attention, and it's going to add value to that journalist's audience. Here are some examples. So for example, April 15th, we all dread it. Why? Because it's tax day. If I'm a financial advisor, an accountant, a tax preparer, guess what I'm sending out maybe 3 or 4 weeks in advance? Top 5 ways to save on your taxes. Top 3 things to do to make sure that you're not overpaying Uncle Sam. I'm doing the same thing before December 31st, right? Maybe 2 weeks before New Year's Eve. Top strategies to do right now to save on your taxes before the end of the year. That's immediate value that you can give to that journalist audience. And of course, Jody, if they interview you for that, they're going to say your name, they're going to say your business name. Don't you worry, the product's going to get out there, right? But it's because you're bringing value that the journalist is trusting you to include in that story. You know, I had another C-suite person that I was working with, and this PR firm came to me, and they said, this person is sending us this information about a story. We don't think this is a story. Can you just tell us that it's not? And I looked at it, I said, oh my gosh, this is a very big story. I wrote a very specific pitch about a very specific expertise. The PR firm sent it to a couple of publications that I directed them to. 2 hours later, the New York Times called. It ran 5 days later, the New York Times. Because we brought this executive's expertise. That's the key.
Yeah, bringing value to the reporter in the form of information that will help inform their audience, help them do their job. Basically, I mean that's what we help. I think you used the phrase before, matchmaker. That's how I see myself too. I have just as much interest, and I've caught some flack for saying this, in helping the reporter as I do helping the client. Because if I'm helping the reporter, properly representing my client, but if I'm helping the reporter, I'm bringing value to them that they turn around and bring to their audience. And I think that's
no doubt.
Yeah. Tell me about, and you have a really strong sort of, I don't want to say sales pitch, but you have a really strong line on this. How can someone instantly up their media game? What are some key things that they need to do?
All right. So we already talked about you're going to start pitching your expertise. Stop thinking that you have to have a fancy PR firm. I want you to craft what I just said, top 3 tips, top 5 tips, and I want you to reach out to your local media, right? You don't have to start with, right? Exactly. Let's reach out to our local media. For example, I met with election officials just yesterday, and we were talking about how to push back on disinformation, misinformation, and how to communicate about voting and about this thing we call democracy. And I said, you know what's coming up on August 1st? And I got a bunch of blank stares. And I said, it's National Poll Worker Recruitment Day. Guess what's coming up on September 17th? National Voter Registration Day. I want you to call one of your local high schools. I want you to get a marching band. And I want you to then call all 4 TV morning shows in your market and offer to bring that marching band into that studio for their morning show and pitch Voter Registration Day or Poll Worker Recruitment Day, right? Because you're going to get an attention. You're going to bring value. You're reaching out to your local media. Every day, TV stations are filling 6, 7, 8 hours of news. The newspaper is filling the content there. The radio stations, the digital properties, right? We have more platforms than ever before. Start with your local media outlets. Don't wait for the journalists to contact you. If you're waiting for the journalists to contact you, you're already losing. You're already losing. You're doing it wrong. You have so much expertise, so much value that you could be adding. But for whatever reason, Jody, people are afraid of engaging journalists. They think that it doesn't work that way. They think that they have to hire some fancy firm or they have to wait for something to go wrong. You have value. You have expertise. Reach out to the journalists and be creative. How are you going to get their attention? And so, as you said, Jody, I always say, Don't wait for them to call you. You call them.
Yeah, let's talk about what's going on, because you mentioned election and just the rampant, we're not going to go political hill, but just rampant misinformation that is corrosive to the point of just completely derailing our political process. And I'll sort of leave it at that. What do you say to your clients who are in that area? And we've got, we're just past the Republican National Convention, coming up on the Democratic National Convention, even though the field is set already. And well, maybe not. Well, I should take that back. Maybe not. But in any case, and we've got an election coming up in November. You work with people in this sphere. What are you talking to them about, and what are you hearing from them in terms of how they want to get their message out?
Well, first of all, let me just say that without them, we don't have an election system, right? If it's not for the nameless, faceless army of 10,000 election administrators around the country, we don't have our democracy. We need a functioning election system. And our election system, in many cases, is the envy of the world. And so what they are most distressed about are the baseless lies and disinformation about what they do. The fact that people think that if their candidate doesn't win, it's the election administrator who's a partisan shill. And it's most egregiously the threats that ever since, let's say, 2020 and the lie that that election was stolen, that election administrators are being given death threats for doing their job. Now, we've seen the Justice Department create an election crimes task force. We've seen the FBI investigate and people be charged for threatening election officials. What are you doing? What are you doing when you're threatening an election official? These people are working long hours and, trust me, not a lot of pay to ensure that our voices count. So I've been working with election officials doing webinars and tip sheets and trainings to make sure that we have a message that they can communicate clearly and transparently with the public. You can't get rid of all disinformation. It's like trying to get rid of the flu. You're never going to get rid of the flu, at least not in my lifetime. And so we need to work on how you can clearly communicate what you're doing as an election official to try and get through to the public, through, in some ways, the media, right? Because journalists represent the public. That's why we ask questions. And so when we were talking about how to do this, we talked about being creative. Let's get the marching band. We talked about issuing tip sheets. We talked about, of course, being rigidly nonpartisan and saying how our election systems run. I ran a fact-checking series when I was at Hearst Television called Get the Facts. And we would do it on politics, we do it on healthcare, we do it on COVID. Inevitably, when I did one on politics, I would get nasty emails. And I know this may be a family show, but let's say they were really nasty. And it always troubled me because, there's the old saying that facts don't care about your feelings. They don't. We're going to report the facts. We're going to give you context. If you want to believe that it's snowing when it's 100 degrees outside, be my guest. That's your business, but it's not the truth. And so what I would say is that we need to support our local election officials because they're doing the work of democracy. They're trying to make sure that our voices is heard. And so I really would ask your viewers, listeners, and readers to support the truth and support your local election administrators.
Here, I could not agree more, because I just think that, journalism and reporting is the pursuit of facts, regardless of how they make you feel. And feelings don't factor into science, and feelings don't factor into facts. But if people don't tell the story and they leave a vacuum, it will be filled by misinformation. And so I really think we need to do exactly what you were saying, is get out there proactively and tell those factual stories. Now, I also know that you're doing your first ever media training event coming up. Tell us about it. And you're calling it immersive. Give us an insight into why it's immersive.
Sure. So this is a multi-day in-person media training camp. We're going to give you everything you need to be ready for your moment with journalists or in the spotlight. And I say it's immersive because it's not me standing up for 8 hours a day for 2 days doing chalkboard teaching. It's immersive because we're going to teach you Media 101, how to craft a pitch, how to get your message across, and then you're going to do it. We've got a studio a block from the White House where national and international programs are taped and go live every day. You're going to sit on that set with me, and we're going to do a practice interview. And then you're going to go right next door and you're going to do a practice podcast interview. And then you're going to go on our stage and you're going to deliver your message as a public speaker. We've got branding headshots. We've got guest speakers coming. They're going to do personal branding and marketing. We've got the head of a speakers bureau coming about how you work with a speakers bureau. We've got an intensive LinkedIn workshop to make sure you soup up your LinkedIn profile. We've got one of the former top anchors in Los Angeles, who's been an on-camera coach for 17 years. She's coming to do body language, voice, intonation, cadence, all of that. And at the end, we're giving you these clips. You're going to have the clips of you doing all this immersive stuff. For our VIPs, there's an optional day on Sunday. You get the one-on-one coaching with me, the hot seat coaching where we play your interviews, and we'll do an edited clips for you. We're going to do an edited sizzle reel for you. So I say it's immersive, Jody, because if you want to elevate your message, you want to amplify your message, you want to learn how to talk to journalists, you want to communicate well on television, you're going to get it all after this weekend, all of it. And so we're super proud about it. If anybody would like more information, and I know some people might only have their phones, so I'm not going to give you a long URL to type in. Simply text the word media, really simple, to 33777. 33777, the word media. I'll send you all the details about the event and my 6 tips to become a better public speaker. Media to 33777.
Mark, that sounds great. And we will make sure to put all that in the show notes too, so people can click on that if they are on their phones as well. But great that you have that text set up. This has been a fantastic conversation. I think you and I could go for far longer than the podcast allows. But we're going to pivot now and have a little fun, as though we haven't been having fun. And come on, into our rapid fire question portion of the podcast. This is where we steal a page from inside the actor's studio. We ask our guests a series of rapid fire questions meant to elicit a simple answer, maybe a laugh or two. With your indulgence, let's begin. Mark, rapid fire question number 1. And these are going to be interesting. I want to hear these. What's your favorite news source?
My favorite news source, that's a really tough one. So I'm going to say I get 3 print newspapers delivered to my door: USA Today, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal. I get 3 more in my email. I get New York Times, LA Times, and I get the Buffalo News. And I have subscriptions to local journalism sources where I've never been to the community because I support some of the journalists that they do.
Fantastic. Support your local journalism. Pay for your media. Don't just get it free online. Rapid fire question number 2. What's your favorite social media platform?
You know, I would say Twitter, which is now X, because I started in 2009 and it used to be an amazing platform for news. Now you have to swim through some disinformation. But in breaking news situations, I think there's no better platform.
Yeah, it still reminds me of the, I agree with you on the misinformation part, but it used to remind me of the AP Newswire in the corner of the newsroom, right? Just spitting out all that dot matrix copy.
Absolutely.
Rapid fire question number 3. Coffee or alcohol?
Oh gosh, neither. So I don't drink coffee because I don't want caffeine. I eat every 2 hours, so my energy level is just like this. And I don't like the taste of alcohol. Surprisingly, I know. And I don't like the carbs, and I don't like the way it makes me feel. So I'll take a protein shake as answer number C.
Love it. Rapid fire question number 3. And maybe you already answered this, but what's your favorite on the run food?
Oh, well, gosh, I have a sweet tooth like you wouldn't believe. Ice cream, please. Local.
Oh, yeah. Flavor?
Mint chocolate chip ice cream is my favorite, but I'm a sucker for like double, triple chocolate.
Love it. Rapid fire question number 5. What do you want to be after you finish this career?
Astronaut. I already applied.
Did you really?
I did. So NASA only opens their astronaut corps like once every 10 years. And so I think it was 5 or 6 years ago. And so, of course, they're never going to call because I don't have an engineering degree. But remember, they were at one point going to be a journalist, put a journalist.
That doesn't matter, right?
Well, so I applied to the NASA astronaut corps.
That
NASA,
is
if you're
so
listening,
cool.
if you're listening to Jody's podcast, call me maybe.
Oh, that is a quick sidebar. I worked with the Intrepid Sea, Air and Space Museum when they brought one of the space shuttles to New York. And I had the opportunity to meet, and over the course of my career, I've met a lot of the original astronauts.
Wow.
So cool. So fun for a nerd and a geek like me.
I went to space camp in 8th grade, Alabama.
Oh, you have me beat. You have me beat. That's amazing. Mark, this has been a great conversation. Please let people know how they can find you online.
Absolutely. Our company website, mediaadvisoryexperts.com. We're the advisors, mediaadvisoryexperts.com. And our live event is MediaMasteryExperts.com, MediaMasteryExperts.com, because we're going to make you the media master.
Sounds good. Thanks again, Mark. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Please remember to subscribe to the show, connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at the PR Podcast, and send us a question or a comment. Our intro is by Christopher Appold. You can find him and his fantastic photography on Instagram at Christopher_APPOLDT. Check him out there and hire him for all your photography needs. You can find me online at Jody Fisher on all the socials and on the web at jodyfisherpr.com. We'll see you next time on the PR Podcast.